you're in a relationship, if you are not convinced that I was called to this, you won't have staying power to anything that you don't understand that I'm called to it. You know, if you're called to a woman, if you're called to a man, you will stay because you feel called to it. And so you're called, so you want to bless your relationship. Anything that you're called to, you want to bless it. And so notice that you may inherit a blessing. You want to bless it so that you may inherit a blessing. And Gary Smalley and John Trent talk about the elements of the blessing. And it's talked about in terms of meaningful touch. It's impossible to bless folks without touching them. I mean, the human touch is so important that a baby, if they're born and if they never have human contact touch, the baby will die. Totally healthy baby, but if they don't have human contact, that child will die. It just begins to tell us something about the touch. Did you know that we have more feeling receptors in our hands than we do in any other part of the body? And so there's a reason that we are told to lay hands on folks if they're sick, and we have a power that's resident in our hands. There's a meaningful touch. I mean, whether that's a hugging a person, embracing them, whether it's a pat on the back, whether it's holding hands, whether it's kissing, there has to be meaningful touch. You cannot bless people without touching them. Every time that they blessed them, they laid their hands on them. Jesus laid his hand on the children and blessed them. You almost can't bless people without touching them. You have to touch people in order to bless them. So there must be meaningful touch. Secondly, there must be spoken words, encouragement, esteem building. There has to be affirmation. There has to be something of where you're actually speaking the blessing of spoken words. Thirdly, expressing high value. Expressing high value. I mean, just by saying to a person, you mean everything to me. A father can say, you know what, I am so blessed to be able to be your father. I mean, you're establishing high value on that person's life, establishing high value by simply affirming with your mouth, you know, I'm so glad that I'm able to spend time with you. You know, if a parent ever expresses to a child, you know, I was just fine before you interrupted my life. You know, you're really a burden to me. You know, you ought to be thankful to me that you burdened my life ever since you've been in this world. That doesn't establish very high value, does it? But we establish a value where, you know, you are God's gift to me. Establish high value. And then number 4 is by expressing a special future, picturing a special future for the person.